They purposely put in a theme of rebirth and put clues and imagery to make the rumor grow. The story goes that Paul died in 1966 and was beheaded just like the Apostle Paul in Rome. He is reborn as Billy Shears, and Bill is short for William, and as William Shepherd and William Stewart Campbell. So we have William shearing a sheep, William as the shepherd, and William Stewart Campbell. And Stewart is the claimed Merovingian bloodline of the British royals. Campbell means crooked mouth. The name William itself is a code for Will I Am. We also have Paul McCartney as William Piper, and this is the same Piper who leads you to reason from Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. The Piper is based on Pan. It is also worth noting that the credits for Paul's 1982 song Wanderlust, there's a drummer by the name of Adrian Shepherd. Adrian is just English for Hadrian, which you may recognize from Hadrian's Wall. The Beatles are a subject that could be a video in itself, and I hate to break away from the number symbolism, but there are two more things concerning the Beatles, a band which I consider to be very important in all of this. John Lennon once said that there were only 100 people in the world that truly understood their music. People emulated everything the Beatles did, including the use of drugs and the idea of a new age. The name Beatles in itself is a code. As I have shown before, the portrayal of the shape of the scarab beetle in Egypt was simply the Kabbalah Sephiroth. And we also see the Kabbalah Sephiroth, or Tree of Life, in Babylon. Now, the name Beatles was a code for two things. And if you don't believe we are involved in a war against a higher intelligence who has been behind the scenes for a very long time, maybe this will change your mind. The name Beatles stood for Be a Less Christian, and reversed something even more sinister. The S in Beatles was purposely designed to look like a snake, and when you remove the snake, you get the second hidden message in the word Beatles. B-A-L. L means God. The name Michael means who is like God. This is what they believe Satan can make them, but they are mistaken. John Lennon was a follower of Aleister Crowley's teachings. Crowley's whole belief system could be summed up with this statement, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." This included the sacrifice of children, which media has spun as Crowley using metaphors for sex magic. Crowley also had ties with the British government. Eventually, John Lennon realized he had been deceived by Satan, who fancies himself as the light bringer. John Lennon told you exactly what he thought of those who were deceived by these New Age religions and ideas that the Beatles were pushing in the song I Am the Walrus, where he says elementary penguins singing Hare Krishna, and then makes reference to another tortured person who referred to Satan's hold on him in his poetry, Edgar Allan Poe. John Lennon tried to change "do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law" to "do what thou wilt with love." He actually stated this in a Playboy interview. Satan has no love, and John Lennon found this out. Satan offers these people gifts, fame, and love, but only when they are pushing his agenda, which includes war and division. John Lennon said things like, "Our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends, and I think I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that. That's what's insane about it." I will link you articles where you can read up on John Lennon. John Lennon was no saint, but he has one judge who will determine his fate, God. There's nothing wrong with liking beautiful music, and John Lennon was as talented as any musician who ever lived. I am just trying to get people to be aware of what the message is inside the music. and to let people know that these people are no better than you, and often much worse. Holding up these people as dead saints and idols is not wise. Now back to the number symbolism of the planes from 9/11. So we had Flight 77, which could be 33 as a mirror image. W and M stacked on top of each other also would form 33, and the butterfly, and this idea of rebirth and transformation. Now if we multiply 7 times 7, we get 49. 4 plus 9 equals 13. Friday the 13th is important to them because this is when the Knights Templar were supposedly stopped from the Catholic Church. History screams the fact at us that the Knights Templar were forewarned and most escaped. They disappear from written history, but white knights show up in Swiss lore who saved them from Leopold's armies. The Swiss were just farmers, and there is no way they could have defeated Leopold's army on their own, which included trained knights. Then we have Swiss banks opening up, and the Swiss flag is just the inversion of the Knights Templar cross, which is also seen on the Catholic clergy's outfits throughout history. You even see the British Union Jack or flag and Templar cross in the Catholic Vatican courtyard in an aerial shot. It goes back farther than this though. The middle of the British flag is the Templar cross. Geneva in Switzerland is the headquarters of many of the organizations which are at the head of this New World Order. The Swiss banks are very private, just like the Vatican banks. Somehow Switzerland is always neutral, and the Catholic Church snuck Nazi SS into Switzerland in what people call Odessa to escape war crimes. Basically, our history is written by the Catholic Church, and you have to look very deep into history to see the truth. Now, the last numbered flights in 9/11, which hit the towers, were Flight 11, and this connection should be obvious, and 175, which added equals 13. Now, you can research the Knights Templar and read many books about them, but you would be wasting your time if you think that this is when this all started. Why? Because they are just a front of the Catholic Church who has written our history and is attempting to now discredit Roman historians who told the truth before the Catholic Church had a complete and total hold on civilization. Before the 1st century AD, all these countries and city-states worshipped all the fallen angels, and some countries and city-states specifically would worship one fallen angel over another. Around this time, and in the time of Emperor Nero, this changed, and these religions became mainly Luciferian and worshipped one fallen angel over all the others. Historians tie the worship of Sol Invictus, which would mean sun god unconquered, to Mithras, and say that this was learned in Persia, which would have been Babylon, by the Roman armies. This is why Roman Catholics made December 25th the birthday of Jesus. It was the winter solstice. Now, Nero was written about by all the Roman historians, and they all said that he ordered the fires on Rome in 64 AD. Tacitus specifically said that soldiers were ordered to physically stop anyone who attempted to put out the fires. Historians like Tacitus and other historians of the time, who have always been well respected throughout history and in academia until now, said that Nero blamed Christians for the fires and had them burned as torches in the night. Along with this, Nero then built the largest Roman palace in history, called the Golden House, over the area that was destroyed. In part 3 of the series, we will take a close look at the symbolism and designs of Nero's Golden House. It was reported by historians that he kicked his pregnant wife to death, and that the Roman Senate finally named him an enemy of the people, and while they closed in on him, he committed suicide. These historians have never been questioned until now.